I have two huge problems. After installing my amazing diesel heater, which by the way is life changing, I'm left with the air outlet pipe just flapping around underneath my seat. I've got the added problem that I now have got a swivel base on my seat, which obviously rotates, so a lot to think about if I want to build something custom for this heater box. My second problem is that I have a hole in the wall that looks like me when I've smashed my hand on the mounting bracket for my solar panel. Again, not funny. So let's sort these issues out by building both a custom switch panel and a custom heater box using some of the same wood that I've purchased online and some questionable woodworking skills. So it all starts with some really nice wood that you can get online. Pretty expensive, but it looks the best. And then really it's just a case of laying out the switches where you want them and start measuring up to cut holes for your switch panel. Cutting any type of wood like this is really difficult if you don't use the correct tools, so make sure you use either a 44 or a 60 tooth wood saw on your circular saw and not a jigsaw. So this is the first time I tried a jigsaw, it was awful. I've linked a video in the description how to cut this wood perfectly without chipping, so make sure to go and check that video out. So it was at this stage that I realised I didn't quite like the finish of this, so I wanted to put a pinstripe in it, and also I just wasn't happy overall with this particular switch panel, so I thought I'm just going to get rid of it and I'm just going to start again, cut some new pinstripes and start from scratch. But thankfully it worked out really well in the end, and we'll just pick it back up with sort of cutting the pinstripe. So here I've just cut one of the pinstripes in this black board using a sort of method of keeping the blade depth super shallow. So you can see there maybe 3 mil of that blade is poking out. So this damaged corner here is going in, so I'm going to cut the board up here, but I've basically set it 5 centimeters off and now it's at 6, so I'll just do another cut straight up there and hopefully they'll be dead parallel and it'll look really good. And then I'll focus on using my old template to get the holes in the right places, and then I can reassemble the switch panel. Right, here we are. So after the drilling we've got two like dead parallel little pinstripes down there which will match the aesthetic of my furniture. I've got the two big cutouts for the two dimmer switches, which are these ones, and actually only one of them works because I think I've got non-dimmable light, so the LEDs work fine but the puck lights buzz, so they'll be wired up but they won't go in. And now I've got to cut out the rectangle for the switch panel, so I'm just going to get onto that now, and then it's time to mount it. Right, so I've just cut 2 of the holes and the main sort of hole for the heater in. I'm now just going to strip off the carpet here using the actual using this as a template obviously, so that sits there pretty bang on, and then I'll rip that out with a Stanley knife and then cut it with a jigsaw to make things a damn sight easier, and then hopefully I'll be able to pull the wires through and start wiring it up, and it should look pretty good. Worst thing about drilling holes in the wall was I knew that I was going to have to pull cable through, and with all the furniture already in place it turned out to be a huge mission, so thank goodness for time lapse you can just see me struggling to do it, and then I finally pull it all through. Right, it's a bit of a mission just getting all the cables through. So that one there is the main light, so that'll obviously go to a switch. These two here are the LED lights, the tiny one at the top is the heater, and then this cable here is actually just the extension to the power to the back of the light socket. So it'll also run the 12 volt charger. So I'm just going to put the face plate on now and screw it in, and then I can start wiring up all the items. here's the completed switch panel. So at the top there we've got the Autotherm heater, 1 degree, nice and chilly. We've got the two puck light, the puck light and the main light controls there on dimmers, and then we've got the main switch panel which I'm now going to stick the lights on. So for example, that'll be probably the LEDs if I hit that one. Yeah, so these here, maximum bright, dim, off, and then here I've got the main lights. So these are the main puck lights, so lights on and off, on, off. I'll turn them off. And yeah, in here, pretty useful, more USB. And then here, if I ever need it, which I don't think I ever will, I've got the sort of the 12 volt cigarette lighter, which I may use for the fridge, but probably won't. I'll just wire it in, hardwire it in. And that's it, yeah, all working. Right, so I need the heater box doing now, so this is me mocking it up and just let's get on with it. Okay, so what I've got to do now basically is cut the vent hole in the middle here, and here's how the vent is going to sit. So it's going to sit pretty much flush with the top, so it'll look nice coming out there. And then I've got to attach this to this on the back, and I'm just going to use some wood up here and some wood here just to make it neat and with a bit more land to sort of drill into, because as you can see these are 9mm thick, and drilling into that is just going to split the wood. And it's taken me ages to get this finished perfect, so and to get all these pinstripes to line up with a circular saw and to make them dead parallel, so don't want to ruin my work now. So I'm just going to drill that hole in there, and then go about making this into a right angle, and then I can fit it in position. So there you can see the finished sort of panel. Obviously once I've wiped it off, and you can't see really into it from in the cab, you won't see that bit of wood, but it's really just there so that I've got a bit more clearance at the back, so that it sits a bit lower. But I'm just going to install the other bit of wood now, put the whole thing together and make it look good. What I've got to do now is connect the other piece on top, which sort of has got the perfect profile of the seats. That's obviously going to sit at a right angle, and then it's going to sit just covering all the gubbins underneath the seat, and it should look pretty good. I spent ages trying to get these pinstripes absolutely perfect, which as you can see, well, yeah, they are. I mean, I don't mean to beat around the bush. They are bang on, exactly 1 centimetre apart, and then this will look pretty good, covering up all the electronics and the heater under the seat. Right, so it's looking good so far. So that's all fixed. I fixed the board on the back of here, so you'll see what I mean now. So that wood is affixed on the back, screwed in, and it's glued down. So essentially that's 9mm away, which will leave this with a really flush fitting finish on the top. So it's obviously going to sit like that. And then like so. It's quite difficult to do with one hand and film it at the same time. You can see it's going to sit dead flush, and I'll have 4 equidistance fixing holes in the top. The little pinstripes will line up, and then that'll be my little heating box, and it'll sit just behind my seat. It won't get in the way of the rotation, and it looks sick. So yeah, not going too bad. Right, here we go. Here's the heater box. So screws looking nice and flush. No need to countersink them. Slight gap in the bottom that I cut. Hole for the heater, and then perfectly aligned with the top of the swivel base. So now I'm just going to install it, and we'll see what it looks like when it's all plumbed in. Right, so this is for one of the followers that asked the question about clearance with the seat. So here's the seat frame that is obviously part of the seat, and this is part of a box section. It's 35 by 35 mil that come with the swivel base kit. Now you can see the seat is bolted from the top. You can just see the bolt in there. It's bolted to that bit of box section, and then the box section is bolted through using the correct sort of 10.9 tensile, sort of high tensile strength bolts. And then that sits on the swivel base, which, as you can see here, is bolted to another bit of box section, and then that box section is bolted to the actual seat base. Now it gives loads of space, and you won't be able to see it now. You might be able to see it from the front, but the heater is probably 1 inch away from the bottom of this, and it gives loads of space and it looks really good. So yeah, hope that helps. And here's just the view from the front. You can see about 1.5 inches or so with the sort of the box section in it, and it fits real snug. Thanks again everyone for watching for another episode. Tune in next week, and then hopefully we can have the full build time lapse. Thanks again as always, and see you at the next one.